The Cleveland Browns just did it again. Another quarterback controversy, another storm of chaos, and one man, Richie Incognito, completely lost it. After Cleveland doubled down on Dylan Gabriel, ignoring every sign of disaster, Richie went nuclear on live TV, ripping into the Browns' entire operation, like a man who's seen this circus one too many times. The NFL world can't stop talking, not just because of the decision itself, but because this rant exposed something deeper. The Browns aren't cursed, they're addicted to chaos. For decades, Cleveland's quarterback situation has been a graveyard of broken dreams. From Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield, and now Dylan Gabriel. Every time fans think it can't get worse, it somehow does. And this move, naming Gabriel the starter after a brutal loss, might be their masterpiece of confusion. Richie didn't hold back. He said what fans have screamed for years, that the Browns don't just make bad decisions, they make them proudly, like it's part of their brand. After getting blown out 32-13, Cleveland entered a bye week with a chance to regroup. 2 weeks to evaluate, to breathe, to maybe, just maybe, give Shedeur Sanders a shot. But instead, they went all in again on Dylan Gabriel. Richie's reaction? What are they doing? He compared Cleveland's logic to a group project led by the guy who didn't do any of the homework. Fans were already on edge. They wanted something new, something exciting. Someone like Shedeur, who carries that rare mix of poise and confidence. But the Browns, in true Browns fashion, picked comfort over potential. And that's when Richie went off. His rant wasn't just angry, it was art. He mocked the front office's obsession with being different for the sake of it, calling them the Picasso of questionable decisions. Gabriel, ranked dead last among starting quarterbacks, became the latest example of Cleveland betting on a backup and calling it genius. And while Richie laughed, fans cried. It wasn't just the loss. It was the principle, the realization that the team refuses to learn. You could feel the exhaustion through the screen. They had 2 weeks, Richie shouted. 2 weeks to decide if maybe, just maybe, they should try Shedeur Sanders. The kid's right there, hungry, talented, ready. And you still go with the guy who can't complete a pass beyond 5 yards? His sarcasm burned through every word. The Browns don't make mistakes. They make statements, he said. And that statement is, we'd rather surprise you with confusion than win with clarity. Social media exploded. Browns fans, used to heartbreak, turned the whole thing into a meme fest. Shedeur photoshopped in a Browns jersey with the caption, "In an alternate universe where logic exists." The front office's smiling press conference clips became the internet's favorite punchline. Richie even compared their draft meetings to spinning a wheel of random names. They're either scouting on Madden or picking based on vibes, he joked. But beneath the humor was a brutal truth. The Browns have built an empire out of mediocrity. Every season starts with "trust the process," and every season ends with "how did we mess this up again?" Richie's tone shifted mid-rant from outrage to disbelief. "This isn't even anger anymore," he said. "This is acceptance." The Browns could have had Shedeur Sanders, a kid built for pressure, leadership, and the spotlight. And they went with Dylan Gabriel, a guy who looks like he's still waiting for his first NFL tutorial video to load. He compared Shedeur to a Tesla engine sitting beside Gabriel's backup generator. The crowd laughed, but the truth stung. Richie didn't just roast the Browns. He described a pattern every NFL fan recognizes, the kind of franchise that keeps rebuilding the same disaster. He said, watching Cleveland draft quarterbacks is like watching someone touch a hot stove every year, just to confirm it's still hot. The fans know the ending before it starts. And somehow, they keep watching. Richie Incognito's tirade wasn't just a rant. It was therapy for every Cleveland fan who's ever screamed at their TV. He broke down how the Browns keep buying steering wheels when they don't even have an engine. It's like a team allergic to progress. And when he mentioned Shedeur again, he sounded almost sad. "You had a franchise quarterback sitting there," he said. "A kid with swagger, football IQ, leadership, everything you've been missing for 20 years. And you picked the guy everyone else passed on." It wasn't just about talent, it was about identity. Cleveland's problem isn't losing, it's how they lose. Richie painted the front office like a comedy troupe that doesn't know they're performing. Every year, he said, they tell us they've got a plan. They talk about culture, development, long-term vision. and then they trip over their own logic and call it strategy. The comparison hit home. While teams like Kansas City and Baltimore play chess, Cleveland's out here playing Twister on a trampoline. And fans, they're tired of being the punchline. The deeper Richie went, the funnier and more painful it got. He imagined the Browns draft room. One guy asleep, another watching muted highlights, someone Googling best quarterbacks with short names, and boom, Dylan Gabriel. Decision made. He roasted the hype videos too, saying, "This year, Cleveland builds for the future by ignoring the present." But the sarcasm cut deep because everyone knows it's true. Then came the ultimate punch. If potential could win games, Cleveland would be Super Bowl champs every year since the 80s. By now, even rival fans were laughing. But Browns fans, they just nodded. It's not hate, it's fatigue. Richie mocked their obsession with finding their guy, reminding everyone they've had so many their guys, they could open a thrift store of failed jerseys. Cleveland's not rebuilding anymore, he said. They're recycling. As the rant went on, you could feel him shift from rage to something almost like pity. He described the Browns as champions of chaos, a team that can turn even small problems into epic disasters. And the worst part, they do it with confidence. When the camera cut back to Richie, he wasn't shouting anymore. He just smirked. That smirk said everything. Classic Cleveland. The city that invents new ways to break its own heart. Fans joked that watching the Browns should come with hazard pay. Every season's a roller coaster that never goes up. And yet, every Sunday, they're there. In the rain, in the snow, still believing maybe this time will be different. Richie wrapped it up perfectly. Maybe Gabriel shocks us all. Maybe he becomes the guy. But history says otherwise. Cleveland doesn't need another miracle. They need a mirror. The line hit hard. Because deep down, everyone knows he's right. The Browns aren't cursed by fate, they're cursed by choice. And as he leaned back in his chair with that final grin, the internet did the rest. Clips of his rant went viral. Fans quoted his best lines, and even neutral viewers couldn't stop laughing. It was part roast, part truth bomb, part therapy session, and all of it perfectly Cleveland. Because in the end, that's what makes the Browns special. They don't just play football, they create stories. They turn losing into performance art. And as long as they keep doing that, guys like Richie will always have something to say. Maybe one day, Shedeur Sanders will get his shot. Maybe one day the Browns will figure it out. But until then, one thing's guaranteed. The chaos isn't ending anytime soon. Cleveland will always find a way to turn even the simplest decision into a headline. And when it happens again, we'll all be right here, popcorn in hand, watching the next chapter of football's greatest tragic comedy unfold. Classic Cleveland.
I mean, the Cleveland Browns have fucked up the quarterback position for years. They're a dysfunctional franchise. And what really stuck out to me was you just get blown out 32-13. Gabriel has a shit day. And then immediately after the game, you're going into a bye week. You got the Jets coming out of the bye.
Yeah, you have time in the bye.
But immediately you go back to Dylan Gabriel as a starter. You don't take the bye week. You don't take 2 weeks to evaluate, like, hey, should we give this kid a chance? Is he going to give us a shot in the arm to get us going? Because the defense is ready.